is, kind of like Rice Krispies. And then there's these little water quality kits for nitrate and phosphate, and you can get an idea of the nitrate and phosphate in the soil. If you're trying to do this, you can convert that to a fertilizer need if you're in croplands. But if you see high levels of nitrate and phosphate in a rangeland soil, it probably indicates it's disturbed, because those are hot commodities for plants and microbes, and they're usually taken up as rapidly as they're released by decomposition. But if mineralization or decomposition exceeds uptake, that indicates some kind of disturbance. And like Marlon said, if you're storing your nitrogen as nitrate, it's easy to lose it. So those things have a completely different meaning in rangeland situations than they do in crops. So and now the third level is to send samples to a lab. And it's really important to be careful how you take samples. First of all, it has to represent the area you're interested in. So the more samples you take, the more subsamples, put them in a bucket, stir it up, and then subsample it into a bag. The more you take, the better within each of those soil management units, soil vegetation management units. I think the best time to take samples is when conditions are dry, because then you got a window and you can move across the place and everything's going to be the same moisture conditions, dry. If it's moist, some places are going to be moister than others, and that has a huge impact on some of these soil properties that you want to analyze. How deep? Your management is going to affect that surface horizon, so that's what I would sample. Don't say I'm going to sample at 6 inches, 8 inches, a foot. See how thick your surface horizon is and sample that. And then note, how deep that was on the bag or whatever. Dry these things out immediately. Don't leave them in a moist condition, a plastic bag in the dash of the truck. That's called incubation, and it makes these soil decomposition processes happen and things change. So you want to dry them out immediately. If they're pretty moist, dump them out on a paper plate. And then, so as far as what to analyze, a lot of labs offer this routine analysis, and you can add salinity and some other things of interest to that. $35 at Colorado State. You can go further into some active soil organic matter analysis or soil health tests that are being done now. I think Marlon mentioned enzymes. They're looking at enzymes as indicators of good microbial activity, microbial functional groups. That's an expensive test, but you can do that. You can get that fungus-bacteria ratio. These indicate stabilization of organic matter and turnover processes in organic matter. But to tell you the truth, when it comes to rangelands, I have a bit of a hard time translating these to management actions. I think you can get just as much from just going out there with your knife and looking at it as far as what your management action is going to be, right? Improving distribution, changing the timing, changing the numbers. Because if you have a crop field or a garden or a hay field, you can do a little bit more interventional management, a little more intensive management with either tillage or cover crops or amendments. But on rangelands, we don't really have that option. So in conclusion, I'd just say that simple observations of soil and surface conditions combined with vegetation monitoring can provide a great deal of information about the sustainability of your management practices. Do I have any time for questions?
Take one or two questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
You skipped through contact information really quickly. Have you got some place we can pick it up?
I can give you a card. I can go back to the beginning.
What's your website?
It's soil management WordPress.com.
And all of those are available by going to the Stock Growers website as well and going to their partners and programs, so you can access all the information, and all the speaker information is on the website as well. So, or you can get a hold of
Yeah, I would really, I had a first this last 2 weeks ago. I published an article in your magazine, the Cow Country, and I got a response from a rancher that had some questions about soil health. I don't know if you see it. Yeah, I appreciate any feedback as you look at this, or I'll be around